Olá, boa noite. Munson here for the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club on the 2nd of February 2026. We are still, let's face it, dealing with the aftermath of Kristen here. We don't mean to be celebrating and having a great time while we know others are suffering here in this country, this beautiful country with wonderful people. It is more of a social where if you do want to connect, and if you're feeling a bit down in the dumps and you need a little bit of company, if you're stuck in your suffering from cabin fever in your rain-soaked accommodation, join us for a drink this evening, either in the comments or you can even come and join us on the screen. As our first friend of the evening, I'll introduce to you is doing this evening, Johnny Cocktail, everybody. How you doing, Johnny?
Well, I'm doing much better than others. So thinking of those who are struggling.
Yeah, well said. Well said. The same here. We got off fairly lightly. Actually, let's bring Pete and Diane on as well before we tell our own perspectives, share our own perspectives, and how fortunate we've been. And yeah, in a way, it's a bit of a difficult call, isn't it? Do you have a booze up in such difficult times? I think it's probably right to raise a glass toward the community spirit, and I think most people would approve here in Portugal in this culture that we have a glass of wine on a cold, wet evening, and drink to better times, and also have a conversation about how we can continue to help each other in this difficult time. What news and intel we can share and help prepare for. Hopefully nothing ever as serious as again, but outages and that sort of thing and difficult times. I think we have been taught a few lessons as well. So let's give them a round of applause and bring Pete and Diane to join this conversation. Good evening to you.
Hi, all right.
Thank you for blocking out the interrogation lamp there, Pete.
Sorry about that. It's a little bit on the on the incredibly bright side, but there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Good to see you. And we're notably absent, conspicuous by their absence, of course, the Austin household, who are quite badly hit by Storm Kristen, and the Whitbys as well. Both households have been, Kristen has done a dirty on them, both households, Casas, Austin and Whitby, in central Portugal. And I don't know if they are the far-flung regions of Leiria or Santarém, but certainly some of the worst pictures you've seen. That's the sort of thing that's gone on for the Whitbys in Figueira dos Vinhos and the Austins as well. And a little bit of a home in the woods has had a little bit of a bashing as well for the Austins. So we send them our love, and we hope for a speedy reparations and repairs and putting right of their homes, so that we can drink again, as we have been doing since the pandemic time. 2020 this started, and it feels like that's the vibe again, doesn't it? It's good to meet, to keep morale up, actually. And we started the wine club during the pandemic to get together because we weren't otherwise able to do. And here we are back in a state of calamity. Johnny, let's start with you. What's it been like in the Algarve since it was only this last Wednesday? It seems like a long time ago, doesn't it? But it was only last Wednesday.
It truly does. And I'm sure the people most affected, it seems much longer than just last Wednesday.
Yeah.
This far south, it was a spectacle. In my area, in the Eastern Algarve, the damage was minor. The river was at a raging level. I'd never seen it before. But I got to go home to a warm, dry place with power. So I'm here in moral support. I don't need anyone's support because I am so lucky to have dodged that event.
Yeah, absolutely. And is that the same across the Algarve? Were some places hit more than others? Did Kristen make his presence felt?
Well, the Algarve is the entire width of the country, so there certainly may be people I'm not downplaying if they have suffered tragedy, but there may be places worse impacted than ours. But I know people on the western side, and no one has reached out with dire circumstances.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for being here tonight. And we welcome people to join us and share, get things off their chest. Don't have to keep a brave face on. If you're totally cheesed off by what's going on, I can completely understand that, and you want to say so, let off a bit of steam by all means. You can join us on the screen, or you can say so in the chat. It got a bit more serious, didn't it, towards the centre of the country, around you, certainly, Pete and Diane. It's pretty dramatic. What was your experience of Wednesday, early Wednesday morning, going into Thursday?
Well, early Wednesday, we get a lot of wind here anyway, right? But it was definitely different. And I mean, we were very lucky. My polytunnel plastic's gone for Burton, and I'll have to go and get more of that. We didn't have many trees down, whereas a lot of people have. I'm more of a concern to an extent is we've got Leonardo coming now, so the next storm coming in, and it's just sheer volume of rainfall. So we were pretty lucky. We were fairly high up. But I mean, things like the devastation. Our local supermarket in CB we just got ripped apart. The whole place is just completely in ruins, and I suppose there's roofs off. There's still communities here locally that haven't had any internet restored, any power restored.
Even Castello Branco, still some of it is out.
Yeah, I think they've got about 10,000 people still out.
Yeah.
And personally, I think it's probably going to get worse because of the amount of rainfall we're going to get. So a lot of the electricity poles are all kind of skew-whiff.
Yeah, and the ground's so wet, they're just leaning.
Yeah, they just haven't got anything to grip onto. So it means that the power will certainly be going out again. But as you said, I think one of the loveliest things tonight, my booze is a big sack of homemade Jeripiga that got delivered to us at 10 o'clock at night on last Saturday by 26 villagers that came out to sing Generis to us.
Right? Well, only I've got the video, Matt. Can I play a little bit while we're talking? If we just add that to the screen here,
it's just lovely. So.
What's happening here? What happened?
They all turned up in truck at 10 o'clock, and there's a couple of kids there, as you can see on the right, and they sing to basically welcome you home into January, and you have everyone in for drinks and nibbles, and it's just we went singing with them the day after on Sunday, and it's just a lovely experience. It's a really nice way of welcoming in the village, something that I know a few of the guys that we were with had said they'd moved from around Lisbon and stuff, and it doesn't happen there, but it happens in most of the villages. So I would strongly recommend getting involved. It's really lovely. It's really
a community welcoming in of the new year.
Yeah,
and you go. It's like first footing, isn't it? First footing. They're knocking door to door, sing. I mean, it's not like you're on the high street either, is it? They made a special effort, right, to get.
We're about 5 kilometres away from the village, so they all jumped in trucks and just and rolled up, and it's just lovely. It's really nice to kind of. It's a really lovely thing to feel welcomed into the village and know that community's out there for times like these, because ultimately you can throw money at things, but it's not the same as having help and support just on your doorstep all the time. So, I mean, there's a young guy in there who's pulled my tractor out of the mud about 4 times. There's
still came to see you.
There's the shepherd who we got the land off originally. Like, it's just really nice. It's a really lovely thing to take part in. And they sang not just outside, but they came in and sang
inside as well.
And it's just I can't tell you how heartwarming it is. It's really lovely. So
it's lovely.
Even in times.
Did you have enough snacks? Did you have enough snacks and booze for 20 people?
26, just about. Yeah, we've got loads. Honestly, I've got so much booze. And the worst thing is, Carl, it's exactly the same as always. I ended up with more booze than I began with, as usual, because they always bring more bloody booze than I'm ever.
It's like a magic trick. This is how they fed the 5,000, isn't it? Fish loaves and in Castello Branco booze. Wow, how lovely!
But no, it's lovely. We haven't been too affected. I mean, I know some people said that they've had worse winds later on, but it's just the amount of sheer volume of rain.
Oh God!
And the fact that it's going to be carrying on now until at least the middle of the month, if not a bit later. And if you're living near a barrage, what worried us most of all, well, I suppose worries us now, Di's got heart surgery tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
So she's got a stent in Coimbra, and at the moment in the main dam that's above Coimbra, they're using sandbags to kind of paper up the cracks on the dam.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're driving to the hospital, you drive past the dam, and there's a few sort of sandbags and a bit of gaffer tape. Just
Yeah.
It's like something out of a 70s disaster movie. It does look a bit like kind of Towering Inferno or something. So yeah,
Yes.
it's a bit of a concern, but I'm sure you'll be fine. I'm sure.
Yeah, I should be out by Thursday. Am I supposed to be in 2 days?
So,
How
yeah.
amazing, Dan. Sending lots of love to you then in having a procedure in these times, because they must be pretty busy at Coimbra Hospital. I know Laria wasn't it? Because people have been injuring themselves trying to put, not only because of the storm, but trying to repair their homes.
I think you've had like
move my brie, the cat's after it.
I think 5 people officially died during the storm, and 3 more have died putting the roof up. And then you had a whole family that ran a generator inside their house, and one of those has died, and the rest are in critical condition. So it's one of those things where you just have to be really careful. I mean, getting a generator, fine. But generators and fires, if you haven't got ventilation, carbon monoxide will kill you. So it's one of those things where you have to be careful of that. And I always think of Rod Hull and always try and get someone else to do any roof repairs for me rather than necessarily taking the risk yourself. So
yes, absolutely. There are precedents, aren't there, not to follow. But you can understand people are getting desperate, aren't they, and tired as well. So people don't.
But also, it's Portuguese spirit as well. I hate to say it, but the two of the guys that died were, one was 80 and one was 70.
Just getting out there doing their thing.
Yeah, I can't imagine in England many 80-year-olds or 70-year-olds climbing a roof to repair the tiles. So I think it's also something to do with that kind of that spirit I really love. I mean, I've had 80-year-olds chucking oranges at me out of trees just because they kind of, I suppose, because they want to share. Yeah, and they're that spirit. So, but it's still it's a difficult one, I suppose. It's kind of making people realise that there is help out there, and you just need to ask, really, as well.
Well, a number of people have offered to come around and help when I get home.
Yeah, it's really nice. So it is one thing I would definitely say about rural life is that it's incredibly welcoming here in rural Portugal, and they're generally lovely people. We're very lucky with the village we're in, but I remember someone saying really bad things about the village that they'd moved next to, and we had another friend that moved to exactly the same village and had a wonderful time. So a lot of the time it's to do with your attitude, I think.
I think you're right. There might be a connection, mightn't there? Yes, absolutely. You only get out what you put in, as it were. And I don't think you have to put a great deal in. You just have to show willing, don't you? And be open-hearted and open-minded to what's going on. And I think the magic starts to happen as we saw in the video there. And that great community spirit you've spoken of is there in this terrible disaster. I mean, it is, isn't it? Let's face it. This is the worst. Are people saying this in your part of the country? Normally when you say, "Is this rain normal?" So one person says, "Oh yeah, definitely, this always happens," and then another person 10 minutes later says, "No, this has never happened before." And you can never get a definitive answer. But everyone I know is saying this is the worst storm that they can remember, no question about it.
I hate to say it,
we've had.
I hate to say it, but I do think Portugal's full of microclimates, and some areas got hit an awful lot worse than others. So we're not very far away from the supermarket, which was totally destroyed. We're not that far away from some villages where roofs were blown off, where they had all sorts of other issues, and therefore it could be not so bad for one group of people who live in a slightly different altitude or live at a slightly different sort of depth in the valley, and a lot worse for people that are maybe higher up or more wind exposed. So I can understand why there'll be differing views, but undoubtedly it's the worst storm Portugal's had in recorded history. So in terms of the weather stations that survived, I think 3 were destroyed just because of the strength of the winds.
That told you something, didn't it? I mean, somebody sent me a BBC report that the highest wind speed was being measured by an anemometer, I think, at the airbase near Marinha Grande, Montreal. And it blew away whilst it was recording. It was destroyed by the wind. That there was the highest wind that had been recorded.
Yep, absolutely. So anyone that says, "Oh, it's not the worst storm," it is the worst storm, but not for everyone. It's just I mean,
well said. Yeah. I guess 300 days of sunshine, 300 different microclimates. Might be an explanation.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, we're very lucky. We're kind of set up to be completely off grid, so we haven't been affected by any of the power cuts, any of the anything else, because we generate our own electricity and we have Starlink. So it means that we're never unable to work. So it does make a big difference, and I would thoroughly recommend it compared to Mio and Nos. Mio and Nos have got massive outages all over the country at the moment, and it's not something that you're going to suffer from as long as you've got a big bit of open air. So Carl, you were saying to me, oh, should I get Starlink? You need somewhere to put it where you've got a large open sky. So as long as you can put it on a roof or in a garden where you've got loads of room and you haven't got overhanging trees, it's brilliant.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. Yeah, thank you. No, I may be doing what has been frowned upon earlier on, is just like sticking my head out the skylight and sticking it on the roof above, attaching it to the skylight window here, facing up.
Yeah, I think you really like it. I hate Musk. I hate all of the stuff that's been revealed recently about him. He's an odious little man, but the products he makes are really good. So it's the case of the products are great, even if he certainly wouldn't be invited to any parties here. So,
well, I don't suppose he's waiting for our orders and saying, "Ha, I've got his order. He said something nasty about me, and he's still buying my system."
Nobody is, though. What I love with Musk is he's so childish. I mean, this spat he's had with Ryanair recently.
Oh yes.
It's done brilliantly for Ryanair. You know, they've
is it Michael O'Leary? He knew how to handle it.
And O'Leary is a funny guy. I've met him a couple of times, but my brother knows him really well, and there's no way Musk will get the better of O'Leary. I have to admit, he
won't have dealt with that, will he? He won't have dealt with that Irish brilliance in quite that way, I don't think.
Well, I think that's the problem with the whole Epstein case, is that unfortunately, if you look at the main players like Trump and Musk, they're surrounded by sycophants who tell them everything they do is fine. And unfortunately, obviously that isn't the case. And hopefully someday there'll be people who will actually bring some sort of justice. So, because at the moment,
it's unlikely that they're going to get away with you, gobshite. It's not going to happen, is it?
Well, I don't know. Things have happened before that have been amazing. You never know what's going to happen in life, but
we really don't. I mean, that's the other thing, isn't it? At the moment, there is a physical storm, and it would appear that there is a political, social storm of consciousness for humanity at the same time as well. I don't know if you've got a comment on that, Johnny. What do you make of that? What do you make of my Nostradamus-like?
Well, I don't know to which continent you're referring. So,
well, it's not just that one that you think I might be referring
They're all
to.
over.
This program is not that long that we can cover all of that. Yeah.
No, you're right. And Johnny, well, we've got our own British ones as well. We've got
Mandelson is
absolutely.
This is somebody in the House of Lords and a close relative of the King. It doesn't go much higher than that, and
well, it does, because you formerly known as Prince used to be a good thing.
Boom, boom. Right, very good. Very good. Well, we've got a few messages in. Mike, good to hear from you. Hello, everyone. Sending love and support from LA this evening. A lovely international gathering. Hello from Florida as well. Sending love and prayers to you all. Lovely to see you here. I was just typing that Eileen, it's Donna, isn't it? Who's sending us a message here. I was just typing that Eileen is working. Hopefully, I see it is both of you. Is working. Hopefully, you're all doing much better today. Too early to drink in Florida. I saw a brilliant "It's 5 o'clock somewhere" meme the other day, and it was somebody leaving work. So it must be 5 o'clock somewhere. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning, but it must be 5 o'clock somewhere. I'm clocking out. Just popped in to show my support for everyone. Thank you very much, Eileen and Donna and Mel's joining us as well. You mentioned Leonardo. I mean, that's the other thing here tonight. We're having a bit of a drink. People can join us. It's lovely to hear from people in the chat. But what do you know? You keep quite a close eye on the weather, don't you, Pete? What do you know about the next storm?
Well, unfortunately, it's not just one next storm. It looks like until about the middle of February, we are due a whole load of storms with particularly heavy rain all over Portugal. So for me, I mean, I don't know. I offered help we've got one friend that lives by a river, and what I'd be concerned about is just river breaches. If you look at the rivers at the moment, they're all full. There's kind of full saturation everywhere.
Yeah.
And yet we're due another 8 inches of rain in the next couple of days. And it seems to be continuing the whole time. So I don't know. I mean, if I was living right next to a river now, I'd probably
evacuate?
I'd certainly have a plan in mind of where to go, just because of the fact that they're having to release loads more from the barrages because they're full. And Portugal haven't really been in that situation for a long time. I don't know if you can remember, like 2 years ago, all the barrages were the lowest they've ever been. We had
we normally have the opposite problem, don't we? We normally have the opposite problem. And I was telling somebody yesterday, there was going to be a motorway. There was going to be a big pipe running from north to south. That was one of the great Portuguese plans. From decades ago. High-speed rail, a new airport, and a waterway. Not a canal, but like a pipe to take water down south. And it's certainly not needed at the moment. And that's the thing, isn't it? You've taught geography, haven't you, Pete? What happens?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not very good.
Did you have patches on your elbows and a corduroy jacket?
I was head of history, so I really should have had loads of patches on my elbows, but no.
You should have chalk dust all over you. But what the question comes up, doesn't it? As you, I think you're alluding to, it's not a problem Portugal normally has. Where do we put all the water? So what does happen to water when the rivers are full, the dams and reservoirs are full, and the ground is waterlogged from rain from weeks and weeks? I mean, it must go into the water course at some point. What's your theory on that?
Well, for us, what's really good, we've got granite underneath all of our farm, essentially, and it's very easy to see. At the moment, it's very easy to see where to build a swimming pool. You can see which areas can't hold water and which areas release, all right? But it does mean that the aquifers underneath are pretty much full. Everything else is full. And ultimately, it's going to mean that the barrages are going to overflow. So if you're anywhere downwards of the barrage, you've got to be prepared to evacuate. Coimbra put out that emergency yesterday. Thankfully, I think they've released enough rain, water from the barrages, but the flooding further down the river is really pretty bad. So if you're on any of those river tributaries that come off that dam, I'd be worried, but I'd be the same if I was coming from any dam, to be honest. At the moment, we've got friends and their only access road is across a dam, and I would worry about them being able to get out or do anything, to be honest.
You've got to think about that then, haven't you? If this isn't stopping anytime soon, basically, is the message. And I mean, that was some pretty horrific reporting, wasn't it? The two words I saw were evacuate and Coimbra, and first of all I thought, hold on a minute, that's a city. And I thought, no, it's a district. They do need to be more specific about this, don't they?
It's Coimbra Central, and then there's two other villages that are along the river further along, and they gave a message to all of those. But the other thing is, Portugal's got a very good penchant for building everything underground. You've got loads of underground car parks. You've got loads of roads that go underground. And what you've got to watch out for here, I suppose the other thing is, if you've got a property, if you've got a pool or anything with anything that's large, look out for depressions in the ground, because there's been quite a lot of landslides, earth movement.
Sinkholes.
Essentially, those sinkholes are going to open up because the water washes all the ground away from underneath them. You've got large holes appearing. So even driving, have a look at be slow and have a look at what you're driving over, because you don't want to end up underneath it. Those are the things about. We've seen some pretty bad ones. Safe Communities Portugal put in some quite bad pictures of roads just being completely chewed up because of erosion and landslides.
And landslides, right? The landslides are buckling the roads, aren't they? I just saw a recent one coming in, and I've not been showing. I thought to myself in the mornings, there's no point showing all these terrible pictures of what's going on, because you can see those all over social media. But as each one comes in, or if you do watch Portuguese news. Like today, the crane that fell over in Figueira da Foz, that was terrifying. And you mentioned before as well about telegraph poles, and pylons standing in wet ground, and this applies to trees as well, doesn't it? Trees in any high winds now won't have the usual grip and grasp that they have on the terrain.
And that's why you've got so many trees falling. I mean, we're quite lucky. Olive trees have got really long roots, so they've got a massive tap root, so they're okay. But pines particularly, I mean, eucalyptus again will probably be fine because they've got incredibly long roots. I mean, you can get 20, 30 meter roots on the eucalyptus, whereas your pine tree is not going to go very far. So if you've got lots of pines, I would be
Our friend
careful.
had 33 pine trees down.
And
Really?
you saw what happened at Gary's, and those were all pines that came down on his roof.
Wow.
I don't know what I felt really sorry for the other couple that are usually on here that lost their entire roof. That looked awful, really terrible.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
It also depends on if it's a coniferous tree versus a deciduous, and one that has lost all its leaves and doesn't act so much as a sail and doesn't carry all the weight from the leaves holding the water. But if you have pines and all the needles and they can accumulate the water, a lot more weight on them, and depending on the root system, the wind can push them over much more easily.
What we've seen, Johnny, is lots of them are rotten because they've just got too much water and they're not used to it.
It's liquid soil. Yeah,
exactly. The base is rot, and that means that they'll snap kind of up just above the root system just because it's too weak for them. So there's going to be a lot of deforestation, which is not a bad thing given the fact of fire risks that we have later on. But it's still going to be really difficult for people that are in forested and rural communities. I think it's going to be a really hard winter, to be honest. It's not
especially if trees are near buildings or if trees are along roads, and they could blow over multiple trees, blocking roadways and pathways for emergency vehicles or just people's regular transit.
Yep, absolutely, Johnny. Spot on. Yeah.
So staying at home is to be encouraged, isn't it? Unless, of course, there is the outside chance that you might need to evacuate and be careful or be prudent and strategic with that, and think about where you are located and what flooding risk there is around you. But otherwise, yes, stay home. And then we've got the that sort of cabin fever risk for sure. I mean, I enjoyed my dog walk so much today because it was getting out of the damp concrete shell that is many Portuguese houses. It's good to get out, but you've got to be so careful going out as well. It's quite extraordinary. Right, on a lighter note, then let's talk a little bit about wine, and I would like to ask you about your most recent cocktail adventures as well, Johnny Cocktail, given that you're centre stage there. It's been a while since I've featured one at the Portugal Club. What's been going on in the world of cocktails?
Well, I was gone for from the third week of December to the third week of January, for holiday visits, recreation. So all of that was put on a pause, but I think I've made good effort after returning in the start the last week of January, and I've been busy in the test lab and turned out some delicious recipes, and there's more coming. And I happened to do an interview with a bartender in Faro yesterday, and editing that right now. So that will be posted soon, that interview, one of the premier bars in Faro, and gaining the traction to be validated and go to more of these places. I just need to make the time to get to some of the people that want to talk to me so I can share their story.
Wonderful. So the plan is kind of coming into fruition, but not perhaps as fast as you would hope. I mean, I'm guessing you're like a lot of people who've come to Portugal to retire, as it were. It's not quite as quiet and leisurely as you might have imagined.
Oh, I've never been so busy.
Yes. Yeah.
But on that, from the personal travels that we take, and it's visitor season is starting up again. I think we've got 3 different groups coming in April, from the beginning of April, then getting into May, and we've got our own trip. I've got a trip next week that I'm going to be gone for 11 days, and I've got a big one in June. So little patches here and there I carve out, and I like to fill them with going to these exceptional drinks makers so they can have a chance to share their story with the drinking community and the visitor community.
Very good. You're too good a host as well, aren't you? I mean, I don't think that the word's getting round, and you're just never have any peace during the tourist period. Well, which is most of the year down where you are,
except for the last few. Yes, yeah.
And it's always cocktail season. Yeah, I mean, I guess people would hunker down and drink cocktails with you in your place if they were to come anytime now. And anything particularly Portuguese that's come to your attention that you can share that you've learned about?
I have in development probably brief it to a reel. It would just be an Instagram reel, but I've got something that is at the base distinctly Portuguese, and I'm going to have fun with it and present that.
Very good. All right, looking forward to that. So if people go to mycocktailmind.com, they can subscribe, find the various ways to subscribe to your Instagram and keep an eye on what you're doing there.
Yeah.
Where are you up to next, Johnny?
Well, from the website, yeah, it's they can get the Instagram, they can get the Facebook. The cocktail community is saturated with very skilled people doing their interpretations or straight up follow the line of classic cocktails. Just there's so much goodness and very artisans with their garnishes and Instagrammy photos. But the only things I'm posting these days are cocktail recipes that I have personally developed.
Yeah, very, very good.
And where I'm going next, well, for the cocktail side of it, is I'm actually talking to a friend of ours in the north who recently used to be in the south, and get an adventure there. And I think I could do 3 bars a night for 3 or 4 nights, and just to go to those places.
Well, that's just normal life for him, isn't it?
Well, for him, yes. I mean, I think I'm asking him to slow down a little bit. Yes. Yes, but to go to these places that I already have an idea might fit into the niche that I have, to that craft cocktail label, and to recruit them for future episodes.
Yeah, very, very good.
You'll have a great time. It's lovely up there. You'll have a great time. It's a lovely city, and I think you'll have a fantastic guide. So,
I've been there briefly. I'm looking to an extended deep dive, but not at dives. Yes.
There's plenty of those.
There might be 1 or 2 visits to places of ill repute that do a really good buffon or something like that.
Are we speaking frankly?
Yes, we are. Very good. Well, all the best. Looking forward to your feedback there. And yeah, Pete, Diane, what else? Have you discovered anything? It's lovely to get a bladder of Jarapiga, obviously, from your neighbours. But
awesome.
He had it hidden under his jacket.
Yeah, it's
Really?
fantastic. I love it. I love having that. Honestly, for me, having local drinks is probably my favourite thing. Is knowing that someone spent time and effort to make it themselves and then bring it over to you. It's just lovely. It's really nice, and there's no kind of whale sperm or goat mucus or whatever they've put in to keep the wine kind of the way it is, or even
those trusted preservatives. Yes,
exactly.
Never a descriptor I've read in Wine Spectator.
No,
I'm not familiar with that, but we get the gist, as it were.
I guess. Well, how do they know what it tastes like in the first place?
Well, it's like your own nose, isn't it, Johnny? You can't smell what's inside your nostril, so you don't know half the time what's inside a bottle. Apart from here, where they brew everything, so everyone's got their own like homemade, I don't know, turnip cocktail, or they've got their own take on anything that's brewable. To be honest, so
if it moves or grows, you try brewing with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or when you're a teenager smoking it. Yes.
Yeah. And you can take that for your homework until we see you again. Is try to smell your own nose. That will keep you busy for a little while. Imagine that kept third years busy, didn't it, Pete?
Well, apparently, Cole, if you go away, so take Johnny's example. If he's away for 11 days, in the first 30 seconds, Johnny, of arriving home, you'll smell what your visitors smell, because you become nose blind to everything around you. So it's a good thing to be able to, when you come back, have a sniff. And
the good thing is, having been gone for 11 days, when I come back, I'm not going to have to smell myself.
Yeah, you will. You'll be the opportunity.
My visitors smell me when they arrive. Then I'm sorry in advance.
Very good. So homemade, then, the recommendation from Central Portugal tonight. I've got from my local wine merchant my wine. I've never seen this before. Have you seen that label before anywhere?
No.
This is what Sergio gave to me as a most recent wine of the week at Vinho de Semana. He thinks it's really funny when I pop in there and get my wine of the week. I'm not sure he has many other customers doing that, but that's what it was this week. And what did it for me? He said it's from a nice company. We've tried their wines at a wine tasting that he put on Vassala, and he said I took it to a restaurant and they've chosen it as their house wine. So I'm thinking if a Portuguese restaurant will take it on as their basic, what they give you in a garrafa, it must be fairly good, and it's tasty. It's good, very well priced, and something I'd never seen before.
Awesome.
Mea palavra. I did tell me what that idiom was. The half word. I think it's something to do with talking nonsense, maybe. And that's perhaps what happens after a bottle or two of this, maybe a few sips even. So
Well
yeah,
picked
and
up, right.
on that
Yeah.
note, support your local wine merchants. I think it's going to be really important now, isn't it? Especially to support local businesses because they have, our local meetup place, Palmera. Shout out to Nelson and Margarita. Their awning was blown away. 6 grand's worth of awning just blown away. And they're not sure whether they want to continue or not. They haven't been just recently, and I take that as a little bit of a cue that it's not the sort of glory days of constant tourist driven profit. They're thinking, okay, we made a bit of money, shall we, shan't we? And then this comes along. So I think we really it's really important for us to support local businesses and help them get back into business and then support them when they're back. Because it's the corporates, isn't it, that cope best in these sort of situations, I think, because they've got the momentum to do so and the reserves. Whereas a situation like Kristen can put a marginal business, out of business, basically. So let's support local businesses.
It's really good. Now
Well,
I'll drink that.
to have specifics about what's in the glass right now, I'm enjoying this.
Down.
91 points. What is that's not the alcoholic value, is it? What is it?
Well, that's someone else's rating system. Is it?
Okay. A wine enthusiast, yes.
Yes. So this happens to be a 2021. We get this at a tasting room, which is less than 10 minutes from here. It's Caso Santo Limas, and they have a winery in the Algarve, but then they also, in their tasting room, they have the wine sold throughout their entire portfolio, which I think they're in 6 or 7 districts. Now, this particular wine, it's just an easy, crushable, very enjoyable. When I go there, I buy the 6-pack because it's €4.50 a bottle, and it's just delicious. And so that, for me, is comfort. That wine, it's something that I have frequently. We take visitors to the tasting room to have tastes, and it's a very enjoyable. It used to be an olive press facility,
nice.
and they've
Nice
maintained so much of that character, and a great staff. They're very hospitable, and I really enjoy this wine. So I'm drinking this for me and for them.
Very good. Very. All right, wonderful. I think we'll come to a close, draw it to a conclusion tonight. We raise a glass to those of our pals who can't be here tonight for various reasons. They're knackered from doing repairs, or they've got power but they haven't got internet, or vice versa. So we look forward to being with you again on the screen. To keep in touch, as Pete mentioned, with a pretty good resource about what's going on. That's actually Safe Communities Portugal. They started off in the Algarve, but that's where you'll find Safe Communities Portugal, and really good with a heads up on the weather and any new moves from the government, which of course is continuing its state of calamity until next weekend. Interesting timing. That's the presidential election as well, which doesn't show any sign of being cancelled. It looks like they're going ahead with that, doesn't it? The presidential.
They don't usually let weather stop them with things like that, unless we get another big storm front. I think they kind of want to get it over with, to be honest. So
they're going to rip in that plaster on Sunday. And I was in sort of energetic, vibrational terms. I was chatting with Mrs. M earlier on, and I was thinking, it's going to be a very interesting result either way on Sunday, isn't it? I think the socialist, Seguro, if he wins, will bring a kind of retro calm, like a bit of a sigh of relief for many people. Even if they don't like him, they'll think, what, with everything that's going on, thank God we've just got an old socialist president now. We can just calm down a bit. Alternatively, if Andre Ventura becomes president, the temperature, metaphorically, is going to go up, isn't it? We're in the middle of a crisis, and that is going to be quite the curveball politically and that's going to send a message way beyond Portugal, I think, across Europe, and that will be just raising the stakes, the game here in Portugal. What do you make of that? I'm sure you've got a view on that, Pete.
Yeah, I have to admit, I mean, if Ventura does succeed, which I doubt, I think Portugal is probably one of the most compliant communities that I've ever been in. So certainly during COVID, everyone kind of followed the rules. Everything was they're generally quite a compliant nation. I think it would be really pretty awful, because what happens in times of crisis is people search for someone to blame, and usually it's the last in first out kind of idea of you blame whoever's poorest or in the most vulnerable position in the community, and that could well be immigrants. So it's one of those things where if he does get in, which I doubt, I very much doubt, but I doubted that Trump would get in. I doubted that Brexit would happen.
Yes,
exactly. There's your third. Oh my God, what just happened? Moment potentially there. I don't know, and I've stopped saying that. The whole thing about that couldn't possibly happen. That's what a lot of Portuguese friends will have been telling you for the last year, is that that could never happen. That could never happen, and you can't say that anymore, can you?
It's difficult. I think it's difficult. I think in Portugal, I'd be very surprised if the socialists didn't win. To be honest, I think it's. I mean, if anything, one of the reasons we moved here, it's a bit like the dock. It is because it's a socialist country, and therefore their society is, or at least social events, are prioritised over a lot of other things. There's a lot. I've done a lot of work in the community. None of the work that I've done before has been paid, and all of the profits that I've made from that work have gone back into the next party that we have in the village. So it kind of that whole idea, I think, is lovely, and certainly in our region, Chega did particularly badly in the general election, well, in the last elections that we had, and my little local party beat them in 3 of the 4 districts that we have. So it's kind of I think it's fairly safe that we'll get another socialist in. I think people also, as you rightly said, times for radical change aren't usually they don't always coincide with disasters, but unfortunately they do tend to quite a bit. So it depends who people blame. But I think it's a good thing that the government's been fairly proactive, and that it's got the subsidies for people that have lost things organised already with Europe. So
that's a fair observation, isn't it? That's happened fairly quickly by relatively speaking, or in relation to previous complaints. It looks like the government has certainly been making the right noises, and we'll wait to see how well that's all delivered. Diane, Johnny, did you want to speak on that at all about the upcoming election?
Well, I agree, Pete, that the prognosticators, what they're saying, how the outcome, it's to some level of assurance. But I haven't been here long enough for repeat cycles to see how the electorate responds to whomever's in power. What I'm used to seeing is that a particular party wins. It's a 4-year appointment by the midterm. The voters don't like what they're doing, regardless of what power they are. And so they vote for the other side of the ticket, and they lose some of the House, the Senate. And then in the remaining 2 years, then the next party comes in. So it's a roller coaster, a cycle. There are some back-to-back winners. But again, from the Portuguese sense, I'll have to wait and see on longer term cycles how these play out.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we've been in a very relatively stable cycle, or part of, with the outgoing president. He's been in his position for 8 years, which is a long time in politics, isn't it? So he's almost like a monarch in his staying power, and how he's been unchallenged. And I think there are quite often 2 terms for a president as well. So that will also be quite interesting if Ventura wins, whether he can manage a second term, or if it's just a lot about anger and outburst. And then, when people wake up from that action, it's like, well, what now? So we will see. We'll see. That's the state of calamity runs until next Sunday, and that's when we'll have a presidential election. And I think that's the other thing. They don't mess about here, do they? They vote even when the weather's bad. And the results are known quite quickly as well. We got to know the local election results quite quickly, didn't we?
Well, that's will actually go out and vote because of all this weather, though.
That's one thing. I think that you will get lower voter numbers, but I also think the thing that's going against Ventura is the memory of Salazar. So although Salazar was popular, certainly popular among some people,
Yeah,
he's in living memory. And on the whole, both Spain and Portugal are very against anyone that looks like a dictator, just because of the response there, because of Franco and Salazar, really. So I think that's a possibility.
it is working both ways, that though, as well, isn't it? On occasion as well. Anyway, Diane, did you want to add anything to that sort of political part that we maybe spent far too long talking about?
No, I haven't really been thinking about it, to be honest. I've got so much else going on. So,
Well, of course you have, and that's what we'd love to wish you all the best with your operation tomorrow. Lots of love to you. And 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. Okay, so all the best to you in your journey over to Coimbra, and hopefully everything's going to be all good. I'm sure it will be in Coimbra. And and Pete's hay fever seems to be kicking in a bit early as
I think it might be the
yes, but all the best to you, Diane. Raise the glass to that as well. And we see here, Mel, Mea Palavra. Yeah, it is a euphemism as well, Mel. And I forget what Sergio told me about that. So many agricultural fields smashed. I lost my shed and machinery myself. I saw a Leria, a Stufa complex. You mentioned that your polytunnel skin had been destroyed. I saw a Leria polytunnel village. Really, it looked like a small settlement. But all the coverings had gone, and then that must mean with the wind and the rain that what's inside gets lost and destroyed as well. So that's going to have an impact.
And as you said, Carl, with the local cafes and stuff, they have so few customers as it is because Portugal's underpopulated, that any effect on those customers financially, which all the storms have had an effect on, is going to impact them. And it's difficult enough to make a profit when you've got such a small customer base. So I do feel for those people with local cafes. We used to have 3 cafes. We used to have 6 lagars in the village. We've got 1 cafe and no lagars now. And that's because of the way that it's because of the low population, and because I suppose they're not buying the waste from the olives anymore that they used to.
Yes.
But it just means that you have got more local businesses with a lot more pressure on them.
Yeah, let's support them. Let's support them. Got to be done, isn't it? Absolutely has to be done. Mel, drinking Quinta de Piloto 2018 Moscatel Yummy. Good for you, Mel. Gemini here as well. Good to see you. And boa noite todos. Be safe, dry and warm. It was -4 here in sunny Florida. Yeah, I have a friend in Florida at the moment. I'm not sure if I should say who at this moment without his clearance, but he was really surprised about how chilly it was. Went for a bit of business and a bit of holiday, but found it freezing at times over there in Florida at the moment. It was yes, it was Florida. It was Florida. So this morning and tomorrow, don't drink all the good stuff dry until we get. There's no chance of that. There's plenty of good stuff here. That isn't going to be happening. Not even with the wine club's efforts will that happen. So don't worry. And from Chris, all the best, Diane, to you.
Thanks,
as well.
Chris.
All right, let's leave it there. Maybe a final word about Kristen, what you think the best way is to help people, or your advice from here in Portugal, if you have any. Johnny, starting with you.
Your local community will let you know. There are a lot of online resources. There are drop sites for goods, how you can help those that are most in need. So seek it out, or it will come and find you.
Yeah, absolutely. You just get out there with a broomstick. That's the way to do it as well, isn't it? Casa Bleach, Pete, Diane, your last words.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Johnny said. Go to your local junta, find out what people, if anyone needs anything, and just be there for your neighbours. If you haven't seen someone for a while at the moment, do report it. Do let someone know, because the problem you've got is that during winter, especially with problems with access, if people can't get out or if they are in trouble, you won't necessarily know about it. So it's one of the things, particularly in rural areas. Look out for your neighbours. Look out for whoever's around. Okay. Just see if you can. If they're not around, let people know. Is all
absolutely spot on. Thank you for that. Yeah, great advice.
And the other thing I suppose I'd say is, if you've got problems on tracks and roads, let the council know. We reported a tree that was going to take our power lines down, and
it was only toppling on the power line. That was the only thing that stopped it coming down.
And they chopped it up and got rid of it within 12 hours. So honestly, I would couldn't recommend getting in contact with the junta and your president there as quickly as you can if you've got any issues.
Yeah, be aware that. Thanks, both of you there. Be aware what is coming this week. Everyone, take care. Thanks, Hugh, our great friend, winemaker in Vezio, a Taoist, and Barolo, good wine. So wash your mouth out, Gemini. Not Portuguese, it's Italian. How very dare you? I hope you enjoy it. Hope you enjoy it tonight. Thanks, all of you. Thanks, just certainly the Wine Club Ninjas are on the screen tonight. Lots of love to those who couldn't make it, and thanks to everybody who watched tonight. Take care and bye for now. Be safe.